Good afternoon, everybody. This is Kristen with Coldwell Banker Residential Brokerage in Babylon Village. I want to thank you first by taking the time to take a look at my virtual presentation. This is specifically for all of you buyers out there, either first-time home buyers or somebody that hasn't recently purchased a home, I would say in the past 10 years. Because things have changed a little bit, I like to take the time and go over the different things that are going on now compared to what they used to be. I'm going to be touching on two very specific subjects in this virtual presentation. The first is going to be the type of buyer agency that is available to you. There are two different kinds. There is a buyer broker agent or a broker's agent, and I will be starting off by explaining the differences between the two, and then we're going to talk about the different steps that you need to take to help you find your first home and what you can be expecting during the process. So let's get started first by a quick slideshow showing you the specific differences between a buyer broker agent and a broker's agent. Now first, let's begin by speaking about a broker's agent. This kind of agent is just working with you. Some of the things that a broker's agent can do is they are able to give you information about the listing itself, but the seller's information themselves is 100% confidential, including reasons that they might be moving, how long the home's been on the market, or even their flexibility in price. All brokers agents can set appointments on any listings that are listed with the multiple listing service, but this excludes any exclusive listings or unrepresented sellers, which are also known as for sale by owners. They will be able to attend the showings of a home with you, but we aren't able to give you any advice or counsel on any area of the home, beginning with price down to how well the home's functionality will work for you. You'll also not be able to be exempt from being contacted by other real estate agents regarding their listings. Now that might seem like a good thing, but any other agents that contact you are also working for the sellers. And unfortunately, when it comes down to it, a broker's agent is still working for the sellers as well. An offer can be placed with a broker's agent and comparable homes can be provided, but they're going to be comparable homes that support the seller's price. You can still place the offer. The offer will be placed with the through your agent to the listing agent, who will then pass it along. We're unable to request being present or to be able to personally present the offer to the homeowner so that you know everything is being clearly stated and that they understand it. Up next, we're going to be talking about the kind of agent you should really have working with you. So let's take a look at that slideshow next. Next up is the buyer broker agent, and that is really what every buyer should look to use when they're purchasing a home, because this agent is working for you. Things have now switched. Your information is 100% confidential, including what you can afford, why you're looking in that area. Now, the seller's information, though, is no longer confidential. So if they share why they're moving or a flexibility in price, I'm able to pass that information along to you. Other information that's no longer confidential are things like how many times the home has been listed, how many times they've done a price adjustment on the home. So the confidentiality switches over to you. I do the homework on all of the different properties that we're going to look at, and I'm able to now, when I take you to the property, give you advice and counsel on anything that you ask me about, whether it's about the price or about the functionality of the house. Now also, I can take you into unrepresented sellers for sale by owners, but I also have the ability to take you into listings that are not listed on the multiple listing service. Working as a buyer's agent, we are given the right to view properties that are exclusively listed with another company. The other big difference is when it comes time to place an offer on the home, I'm able to pull comparable home sales that reflect the price that we want to pay on the home. So I'm able to get you the best deal possible. I'm looking for the best deal for you, not that the sellers will make the most they can from their home. Another great option is that I'm able to present the offer in person to them. This way the terms and conditions are explained clearly and they understand them, and sometimes we can get a little bit of feedback as far as their flexibility when I'm able to present it in person. Now I want to take a brief moment and talk about some of the paperwork that you're going to be seeing no matter what kind of buyer's agent you choose to use. The first thing I want to show you is something that you should be commonly seeing if you're going out to open houses, and that is the New York State Agency Disclosure Form. That I'm going to put a PDF version of it up on the website so you can take a look at it and read it over. But this is what you're going to be looking at. When you decide to work with either a broker's agent or a buyer's agent, they should be giving you this piece of paper. And over here, you see here that there is the two different kinds of agencies. If you're unsure of what kind of agent you have working for you, simply look at this piece of paper and you will be able to see. Hopefully you have chosen to go with a buyer's agent and not a broker's agent, but any agent that's working with you or for you should give you this piece of paper at first contact, really, because that is what New York State requires. Now you can switch over, you can go out and look at a few homes with somebody and have them work as a broker's agent so you can get to know them, see if things mesh well. Unfortunately, sometimes certain people just don't work well together. So starting out with a broker's agent is not always a bad thing, but when you decide that you're going to be seriously looking, you want to find yourself a buyer's agent and sign up with them as soon as possible. Again, this is going to be available as PDF version right below the virtual presentation. All of my downloads are spam free, so you can download it and be safe, save it to your computer so that you have a copy of it for yourself. But any agent you work with should be giving you a copy of this. Up next is the exclusive right to represent as a buyer's agent. You don't necessarily have to sign this agreement in order to have a buyer's agent. A lot of people ask me, why do you have to sign this? Why do they make you do this? It's for your protection as well as ours. If you go to an open house without your agent, you want to know that you are still protected. This is your way of having that protection. So God forbid a listing agent ever said, well, they came and they told me what they were going to offer. We have this. This is our protection as well as your protection. This way you can always say, I'm represented by ABC Realty and this is who you need to speak to. Most listing agents, as soon as you tell them you have a buyer's agent, they will leave you be as long as you have your buyer's agent's cards with you. I have cards specifically for my buyers that say right on there that you're exclusively being represented by me. But this piece of paper should not scare you, and I'm going to go over it in another segment because there's some common questions that go along with this. Again, this piece of paper, it's actually 3 pieces of paper. Some people have 2, but they all logistically say the same exact thing. But I'm going to go over some of the common questions that people have about it and how buyer brokerage works in the next segment. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time reviewing this entire packet of buyer broker contracts with you, but I'm going to touch base on the 2 most common questions, and that is 1, who pays the commission to a buyer broker? And how much is the commission for a buyer broker? First, the person that pays the commission to the buyer broker is normally still the seller. On MLS, each listing has commission that's given out to either a broker's agent or a buyer's agent, which is whomever sells the house. So many times the commission is still included. Sometimes there's a difference between percentage of commission. So what you do is you ask me to include my commission in the offer when I place the offer. Again, I say the same thing to sellers as I do buyers as far as commission rate. Never decide on who you're going to work with based simply on commission. Always base it on who is going to help you get the job done. You don't want to work with somebody for 6 months trying to find a house because their commission was a little bit less, when it's something that can still be included with the sale of the house. And if you're not in your new home in 6 months, where are you going to be? You're going to be starting over, more than likely talking to me, saying, I need to move in 3 months, and now we're going to be rushing around to find you the perfect house. So it's always better to base your decision on who you're going to work with, on who you think is going to do the absolute best job for you. Up next, the most common question is also, how long do I have to sign a buyer broker agreement for? When you go in and you're interviewing different buyer broker agents, how long you work with us for is really up to you. If you find somebody and you're comfortable and you believe in their abilities, then the buyer broker contract should be in line with the timeline of when you want to be moved by. That's the best way to do it. Sometimes in the beginning, I'll agree and I'll say, I'm going to take you out for a weekend, going to work as a buyer's agent, and we see how things go, and then we re-sign up after the weekend. But again, it should be based, if you're comfortable with your agent, on the same timeline as it is for you to find your new home. You want those two pieces of paperwork to coincide. Now it is time to talk about the different steps that you're going to take while you're in the process of finding your new home. Now I do have this. It's the First Time Home Buyer's Guide. Again, first time home buyer, somebody that hasn't bought in the past 10 or so years because things have changed a little bit. We were in a seller's market then, we're in a buyer's market now. So I give this to everybody, no matter who it is, when they come in and meet with me. This is available again via PDF download right below the virtual presentation. So we're going to get started though, and it'll cover some of the things in the book, other things I cover in person when I meet with you. So let's get started. Step one is finding out what it is you can afford. When you're getting ready to apply for a mortgage, you should make sure that you have two of your most recent pay stubs, your W-2s, as well as your federal tax returns for the past 2 years, 2 months worth of bank statements, and any long-term debt information that you have. Those are things like credit cards, car payments, even things as child support and alimony are all things that your mortgage broker is going to need to be aware of. I have a lot of buyers tell me that they know what they can afford and they're going to go out and they're going to look in the price range that they believe they can afford. There's two reasons why you want to get your pre-approval done before you go out and you start seriously looking for a home. The first is, if you find that perfect house and it's priced appropriately, the 2 or 3 days that it can take to get a pre-approval, that home can come off of the market. So you're putting a delay where there shouldn't need to be one. Secondly, and it's the most important in my mind, is I have people that think they know what they can afford, and one of two things happen. They discover they can't afford what they thought they could, in which case every home I show them will never stack up to the homes that they were looking for in the original price range they thought they could afford. Or B, they're looking at homes below what they can afford, and they get very, very agitated, and then by the time we get the pre-approval, they discover they could have afforded $25,000 more, which makes it that all of those previous houses they looked at was nothing but a waste for them, and it was unnecessary headaches. So always take the first step, get your pre-approval. Coldwell Banker Home Loans is something that we work with. It's an affiliation of our company. We don't profit as agents, but it's a great way to take advantage of being able to have everything in one place and have your agent really work for you, because we can keep a handle on your pre-approval and know exactly where it is in the process. We're going to be moving on to step 2. Up next is step 2, and it's determining your wants and needs. Now, there's 2 ways that you can do this. I have this home buyer guide that I let you guys go through and fill out together, but then I also set my clients up with a listing book account. It's a wonderful system that is integrated with MLS, with the multiple listing service. It allows you to put in your like to have and your must haves for a home, and then it only pulls those homes that meet your criteria. So, and again, you're able to transfer. Sometimes I'll let you fill this out in the book, and then I'll put it into listing book for you. You do need to have an invitation to join listing book. It is not a public site. It's something only a real estate agent can give you an invitation to. Some of the other perks to listing book is your ability to track your open houses, add favorites, and then you don't have to search MLS every single day. This way also you can communicate directly with your agent, leave them a note, and they'll be able to get back to you a little bit quicker in case we're in a meeting. So again, the most important thing when determining your wants and needs is to sit down with all of the decision makers that are involved and go over them and come up with them together. Up next is step 3, and it's the fun part. We finally start to shop for your new home. The ways that we're going to help you find your new home is we're of course going to take you out and look for houses for you. A buyer's agent is legally allowed to pull listings for you that we know will work. Otherwise you have to kind of do it on your own. Another reason to use a buyer's agent. What I do is I pull listings as well as I set you up on that listing book account. So I'm able to not only communicate with you online if I'm in a meeting, but you can also add favorites, and I can track your open house schedule. Yes, I do send my buyers out on their own to open houses. It is a great way for you to get an idea of neighborhoods, locations, style of houses. What I do though is I send you out with my business cards that simply say on them, with your name and mine, that I exclusively represent you, which puts that buffer so that you can look freely at houses without being harassed later on in the week by listing agents who you gave your information to. I keep track of every house we have gone and viewed together, as well as the houses that you see on your own. I keep every single sheet, and I write down all of the notes that you tell me. If you say, I loved that kitchen, or I hated that basement, I make the notes on there and keep track of them for you, because after you see about 10 houses, you're going to start to wonder and forget which house had what. You're going to hang on to your favorites in your little folder that you get from me. This way you always have a copy of them, and it makes it much more organized for you. Gives you a place to keep everything, including your home buyer's guide. It also gives you an idea of what to expect throughout the process, so you can always look back at it. The two most common questions I hear from buyers is, how long is it going to take me to find the perfect house? It all depends on what kind of house you're looking for and the locations where you're looking. That's on an individual case-by-case basis. We go over that when you come meet with me in the office. The second common question I hear is, how will I know that it's the one? And I have to be perfectly honest with you, even as a real estate agent, it's like dating. When you find the perfect house, you're going to know it. But after step 3 comes step 4, and this is really why you want to be working for a buyer's broker. So we're going to get into that next. Up next is step 4. We found the perfect house, and it's time to make it yours. You're going to place an offer on the house. The bidding style of the house is going to come into play depending on what kind of sale it is. If you're looking at short sales, I have written numerous blogs about the different kinds of sales that are out there: short sales, foreclosures, estate sales. So make sure you take a look at that, because each situation is a little bit different. You also want to look into how it's priced, and this is where you're going to have to depend on your agent. A buyer's agent will be able to tell you honestly if a home is overpriced and help you with the bidding style, because we're looking to get you the best deal on the house. If you're working with a broker's agent, unfortunately, any comparables that they pull, they're going to want to make sure that they're getting the most that they can for the homeowner. So again, another important reason to use a buyer broker agent versus a just normal broker's agent. So hopefully we get you to an accepted offer as quickly as possible. Your next step is going to be to schedule your home inspection. They're going to go through, they're going to give you a detailed report, and you're going to go over it with me, and we're going to decide what we're going to ask the homeowner to do, if we're going to ask for credits because of certain things. Again, each one is individual to the house and to the buyer. You will usually go back if there's something structural or hazardous in the house that you want taken care of. You also need to have your termite inspection done, which is usually done during the home inspection, because your bank approval is going to be dependent on it. They're going to ask for a clean bill of health as far as termites. Most homes on Long Island at some point have had termites. It is not unusual. Do not get scared by it. They will have to make the necessary repairs if there's past evidence, and fix it if there's current evidence that they're still live. Hopefully we get you all set up and we agree on the terms after the home inspection, and then we're going to get you to contract. The reason why agents will push you to get into contract as quickly as possible is not because that we're rushing you. We're trying to protect you. Legally, the homeowner is allowed to hear all offers and even accept other offers until they're legally bound by the contract. So you want to get through your home inspection, schedule it as quickly as possible, and then get yourself into contract so that the house is able to be taken off the market. Now, you've gotten your accepted offer, you've gotten to contract. This is really where your buyer broker begins to do a lot of work behind the scenes that you don't necessarily see. The moment you sign contracts, I've on more than one occasion hand-delivered contracts to a seller's attorney, because I wanted to make sure that they got there in a timely fashion. I did not want to depend on the postal service to get them there. This is especially important when we're doing homes that are aggressively priced, because we want to make sure that we move quickly. I am, of course, there during your home inspection, but now I'm able to be a liaison for you between the home inspector, you, and your attorney, because I was able to be there and relay to the listing agent, the homeowner, everybody involved, what I saw as well, because sometimes they need to hear it from an impartial party. I'm also the liaison between all of the other agencies that are suddenly going to be involved. You're going to need to have a title company get involved because they're going to run the title search on your house. There is going to be insurance that needs to be obtained for homeowners insurance. You're going to need somebody being the liaison for your mortgage company because they're going to want information on the subject property that you're looking to purchase, including comparable home sales to prove that what you're buying the house for is what it is worth. I go to the bank appraisal. This way I know that everything goes smoothly. I am, of course, there for your final walkthrough. We do that about 2 days before the house closes. This way we can make sure everything is as is condition. So if there's anything left that we need to have taken care of, we can do so before it gets to the closing table. Coldwell Banker is a full service brokerage, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about all of the different companies we're affiliated with, which makes it more of a one-stop shopping for you, which during any home purchase, it's always better to be able to just go one place. As agents, we do not profit in any way from the affiliated companies that I'm going to show you. They were strictly created to help our buyers and our sellers. So let's take a look at them. Coldwell Banker Residential Brokerage is affiliated with a few different companies. The first one is actually the American Home Shield Protection Plan. That they do have a lot of different coverage, and in some cases they're provided with our listings. If you purchase one of our company listings, there are similar companies that do the same thing. If a home is not listed included in protection plan, you do have the option to purchase one, and in some cases I will purchase them on behalf of my buyer. We're also affiliated with Coldwell Banker Home Loans, which makes it one-stop shopping for you. You can find a house and get your mortgage with the same company, allowing us to really be a great liaison for you between everybody involved. Of course, when you purchase any home, you'll need a title agency as well as homeowners insurance. So we do have two companies that we're affiliated with that as well. And we also created the Coldwell Banker Concierge Services. And this is a list of everything from plumbers to contractors to painters that you can use that have been recommended back by our customers. It's not a list that anybody can buy onto. It's strictly a list that our clients have used these professionals and refer them back to us and say, you know, they did a great job for us. So, and again, it covers everything from movers to painters to even things once you're already in the house. If you need a plumber or you need an electrician, you have one place to go to, and it's a wonderful thing for both buyers and sellers to take advantage of. That finishes it up for the virtual presentation for buyers. As always, the available PDF downloads that were mentioned in this virtual presentation are available right below the YouTube link. So please feel free to take a look, download, and keep them for your records. If there was a question that you had that was not covered in the virtual presentation, please feel free to check my blog. They're written weekly. You can search by keyword or by topic. And I do hope everybody decides to use a buyer's agent. It is the best thing for you when you're looking for a house. But again, any questions, you can email me, or you can even chat with me live or call me directly. If you're looking for a buyer's agent, I always say interview a few, and I hope to be hearing from you soon. Happy house hunting!